Hello everyone, Johnny Mind here. Today we'll continue to study hiragana by playing Super Mario Bros. Let's Okay, hopefully we are back now. Don't know what happened. Technical difficulties. Okay. Now it should work. So let me check. Okay. Okay, just to be sure, I'll do a couple of checks and I'll be back. Okay, since there have been some technical difficulties, I'd say we can start back from the beginning to be sure that nothing has been lost. Of course, unfortunately, we missed some time, but the most important thing is that we have all. So let's load back for 6.1. Again with the nighttime stages. There are key to. Let's wait. The good thing is that now I know what to expect in these levels. Luckily, 6-1 is quite short. Yeah, okay. Now it seems to work as intended. Okay. Oops. Oh well. Fortunately, we won't see World 6-2 next time, but that doesn't matter. Let's open the okay. Let's go back to the Wiktionary. And let's go back to the first hiragana of hagyo, ha. As usual, from left to right globally, top to bottom, left to right, top to bottom with a circle, top to bottom, left to right, top to bottom with a circle. You can see it also here, top to bottom, left to right, top to bottom with a circle. Now, of course, as usual, we can add ba. We can add the dakuten to have ba. Again, top to bottom, left to right. Okay. We write ha first and foremost, top to bottom, left to right, top to bottom with a circle, and then add the dakuten, the two commas, top to bottom, left to right, top to bottom with a circle, and add the two commas. You can see it also here, top to bottom, left to right, top to bottom with the circle, and the two commas, the dakuten, ba. Let's move on to pa. Because now we, for this, for the hagyo, we can also add the so-called handakuten, which is a circle, to have the sound pa. Top to bottom, left to right, top to bottom with the circle, and the circle, which is the handakuten. Top to bottom, left to right, top to bottom with the circle, and the circle, which is the handakuten. As you can see also here, top to bottom, left to right, top to bottom with the circle, and the circle, which starts at the bottom, which is the handakuten. Handakuten means mark of half maddi, because han means half. And yes, it gives us the sound pa. can see some words. First and foremost, this particle written as ha, but actually pronounced as wa. And that's because of how the Japanese language evolved, but the way it was written was kept the same. And so wa, written as ha, is the particle for the sentence topic. More often than not, that corresponds to the subject of the sentence. So for example, if we want to say, as for the student, we can say gakusei wa. Reminder, as we've seen last time, you barely hear the in this word because it's between, when e or are between unvoiced sounds like k and s, you barely hear them, if not there's at all. So gakusei. And also the combination ei and the combination ou are pronounced as long e and long o. In the case of ei, there are some who still pronounce it as a, but more in standard Japanese it's actually long e. So gakusei, gakusei. Okay. We can now see some actual words with actual ha in this case. For example, ha, accented, as you can see. And it means tooth or teeth, because in Japanese there are some ways to mark the plural, but they're not necessary. More often than not, it's not marked. So ha can be both tooth and teeth. Then we have ha, in this case unaccented, which means leaf, blade of grass, and so on. If we add the particle we have just studied, we have for the first one, hawa, hawa, hawa. As for the tooth slash teeth, while for the second one, hawa, hawa. Low, high, because that's the rule. If the first syllable is low, the second one is high, and when the first one is high, the second one is low. In this case, unaccented, so the first one is low, and then the second one is high. Hawa. Okay. Now we can see a word with ba. Ba, unaccented, means place, spot, space, and of course several other meanings, extended meanings, like field, discipline, occasion, situation, scene of a play, movie, and so on. But the fundamental meaning is place. Okay, let's see a word with. Never mind that in this case it's because usually onomatopoeias are written with katakana, but you might find it sometimes also as with hiragana. And just to see one more word with pa, patsi, a cracking, snapping, popping, clicking sound, but more often than not you see it as the onomatopoeia for clapping. You can see it in manga, and also we'll see it, of course, in our specialty, which is video games. Let's see a word actually more often than not written with pa, which is an alternative form for leaf, as we've seen, ha, unaccented, happa, luckily also unaccented, and yes, it also means leaf and so on. Okay, this time everything seems to go well, and so we can go back to our Mario Bros. Okay. Fortunately, we didn't see the screen with word 6.2 because it was too late, but it's up there. Oops. And my first rewind after the technical difficulties. Okay. Oops. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. Everything seems fine. Okay, this time I already know that I have to go up here. Let's avoid all these plants in these pipes. Oof, barely avoided it there. Oops. Nope, this wasn't smart at all, even though I knew it was coming. Okay. Wall jump. Nice, the top. And we're done with word 6.2. Okay. Let's go back to our syllables with he. As usual, the syllables when there's a consonant before e, it becomes palatalized. In this case, it becomes the sound he, which is the H found in ich in German. He. And so, yeah, we can see it here from left to right. Then we go down with the curve, up and then down. Single stroke, so left to right, down with the curve, up and then down again. As we can see also here, start here, down with the curve, up and then go back down. As usual, we can add the Dakuten, and so we have B, again, we write first and foremost he. So again, left to right, top to bottom with the curve up, and then top to bottom, and the Dakuten. Left to right, top to bottom with the curve, we go back up, and then top to bottom, and the commas, the Dakuten. As we can see also here, the single stroke for he, and then the Dakuten. As we have seen, there's also the Handakuten for this column, the Hagyo. And so also in this case, first and foremost he, again, left to right, top to bottom with the curve, go back up, top to bottom, and then the Dakuten. The Handakuten, which is a circle. As we can see also here, a single stroke for the he, and then the Handakuten. Okay. Let's go back to, let's see some words. We have he, accented, which means fire, flame, blaze. Generic fire is the basic meaning. Then we have also he, unaccented in this case. Again, that's why knowing the accent can be quite useful. I wish I knew about it when I started Japanese. And he means day, days. Also the sun, but more often than not, there's another word for sun. Usually it's more the basic meaning is day/days. With B, let's see if it finds, yeah, there's this one, but it's usually, they're more, let's see this one then. Hibi, as you can see, high-low accented. Daily, every day is, or literally days, as we can see, is a duplication of he. There's even the kanji repetition mark, which we have seen before. We'll see it again, but it's good to already see it again, so it might stick more. And yes, means daily, every day, literally days, for example, of one's youth. And so also every day, day after day, hibi. With P, it's not easy because usually you can start with that. Of course, it finds also the P as in the letter Greek, the Greek letter. So let's try searching it with this function to find the words that start, that end with P. For example, shimpi. Shimpi. Oops, there's this one, this kana that we haven't seen yet, so let's ignore it for now. Yeah, it's not easy to find the words with this one because more often than not you have before the P this hiragana that we haven't studied yet. An example is this one. GP. Actual expenses, cost price, literally actual expenses, because the first kanji is for truth, actual in this case, and the other one is for expenses. And as a reminder, we see again the small tsu, which means that the following consonant is a double consonant, in this case GP. For those who speak English or other languages that don't have double consonants, you have to start it in your mouth, keep it, and then release it. GP. Yes, this is an example for this word. Okay. Everything seems to be all right, and so we can go back to Super Mario Bros. Word 6-3, and start the snowy. Not sure if that's the actual definition, but let's call them like that. Okay. Oops. Yeah, not the best sequence of events. Okay. Here, let's jump up here. Let's grab a mushroom. A super mushroom. Okay. Oops. Again with the solid above part. Like before. The jump. Yeah, the spring combo with the platform isn't the best, but you have to do it. Let's see if we can save it from here. Okay. Even more so if this is good training for later. As you see why when we finish Super Mario Bros. Okay, stop here. Go back to our hiragana with who. Yeah, in this case, it's also an exception because instead of pronouncing it as a ha, when combined with the sound is f, similar to an F, like in English and other languages, but bilabial in this case, so with both pronounced with both lips instead of labiodental, and so the bottom lip and the teeth. But of course, you can pronounce it as a regular F and you'll be fine. But if you notice the difference when Japanese speak, is because of that. Fu. And so we have it here. We start from the top to bottom, and left to right. Top to bottom, left to right. but this isn't the most common way to write it. This is the most common way, and much easier. Quite convenient. We start with the comma at the top, then top to bottom for this stroke, a comma in this here, and a regular comma here, kind of inverted in this stroke, but again, comma, top to bottom, and so then we go left to right, and so this inverted comma, and then the regular comma. Again, we can add the dakuten to have the syllable bu. Luckily, when we add the dakuten and handakuten, there's no more the worry about a different pronunciation of the consonant. Bu. Again, top to bottom, left to right, and the dakuten. Oops, okay, dakuten. Let's go here to see the most common way to write it. Again, we start with fu, comma, top to bottom, inverted comma, comma, and the dakuten. So again, 2 commas, comma, top to bottom, inverted comma, comma, and the dakuten in the top right, so 2 commas there. We also have, we can also add the handakuten to have pu, top to bottom, left to right, and then the handakuten. Again, we see it here, the more common way to write it. Comma at the top to bottom, inverted comma on the left, comma to the right, and the handakuten, the circle, in the top right corner, comma, top to bottom, inverted comma, comma, circle, which is the handakuten. Okay, we can now see some words. For example, fushigi, fushigi, which means wonderful, marvelous, but more often than not, actually, as in strange. Strange is the key meaning in this case, as we can see also in when used as an adverb. Strangely enough, oddly enough, yes, strange is the key meaning, but also strange as in wonderful, marvelous, and so on. As we can see here and also here, it's a so-called adjective keiyodoshi. And yes, it's the other kind of adjective that I mentioned in previous lessons. Not the true adjectives with the e, and that get conjugated. This one simply adds the copula, and it's the copula that gets conjugated. If I want to say it's strange, I would say fushigi desu in polite speech, or fushigi da in plain speech. But unlike other nouns, when you want to say something is strange, we have to add the na. We have to add na instead of no, which is, as we have seen, the possessive, and so that's what you usually say to say when you want to add, when you want to link someone or something's noun. And so, yeah, if we want to say, for example, as we have seen, for example, the word fire, we wanted to say a strange fire, we would say fushigi na hi. Fushigi na hi. But of course, we'll see these aspects again when we see actual sentences. It's just to start learning what the different kind of words are in Japanese, because there are some differences compared to languages like English and also Spanish, Italian, and so on. So we've seen a word with fu. We can see a word with pu. Well, for example, we can see this suffix bu, which can be a department in an organization company. We see these kind of rankings better when the time comes. And also you can see it as in a club at school, at university. For example, if we no, that's not good because there's also that sound. This one, nope, because of that. Oh well, we'll see it when the time comes, but just to have an example of a word with pu. And then again with pu. Oh yes, we can see. No, let's do it this way, because again, pu comes out with, yeah, for example, this word. As you have seen before, we usually found the p sounds after a double consonant or that hiragana we haven't seen yet. In this case, a double consonant, we have kippu, kippu, an accented word which means ticket. Okay. We can go back to Mario Bros. Yeah, we'll continue slightly more this time since we lost some time. And we'll do the break after the next word and hiragana. Word 6-4. Again, a castle. Okay, nice. Ooh, that's... Yeah, no. Immediately lost it, but oh well. Let's try to not... Yeah, not easy. It is with all these fire bars. Ooh. Okay. Huh. A really short one. But of course now Bowser starts throwing hammers, so it's not as easy. Let's go back here. Let's try to go below him. And so yes, we finished World 6. Let's pause and let's go back to our hiragana. Again, since we've finished a word, we'll see 2 hiragana, and of course also all the dakuten and handakuten combinations, so actually 6 in this case. Starting wait a moment. Okay, seems to be fine now. For example, we start with he. From left to right, we go above and then down with this dented. It's a single stroke, so left to right, this way. Let's see. Okay. We should be fine, sorry. As we have seen here, left to right, in a single stroke, as shown also here by the arrows. Then we can see be by adding the dakuten. Again, we start by writing he, single stroke left to right, and the dakuten, the 2 commas, left to right, 2 commas, as seen also here with the arrows. Then we have pe, again left to right, and then the handakuten, so the circle, left to right, single stroke, handakuten, the circle. As you can see also here with the arrows. Okay. Then we see ho. As you can see, it's similar to ha, but with an additional stroke on top, so be careful not to confuse them. Of course it will happen, but keep it in mind. Left to right globally, top to bottom, left to right, and top to bottom with the circle. Top to right, top to bottom, sorry. Left to right, top to bottom with the circle. As you can see also here, top to bottom, left to right, and top to bottom with the circle. We can add the dakuten to have bo. Again, we start by writing ho, top to bottom, left to right, top to bottom with the circle, and add the dakuten, the 2 commas. To bottom, left to right, top to bottom with the circle and the 2 commas. As seen also here with the arrows, top to bottom, left to right, top to bottom with the circle and the 2 commas. Last but not least, we can add the handakuten, and so have po. top to bottom, left to right, top to bottom with the circle, and then the actual circle of the handakuten, to bottom, left to right, top to bottom with the circle, and the circle of the handakuten, as seen also here, bottom, left to right, top to bottom with the circle of the handakuten. Okay. We can see some words. First and foremost, this particle, just like in the case of wa, which we have seen, this one is written he, but it is actually pronounced e without the h at the again, that's because of how the Japanese language evolved, but it was kept this way in writing. And yes, this is a particle that means to, towards, and also for, most likely it means in the sense to someone. Yes. Pronounced e, as we can see in modern Japanese, indicates direction or goal. I'd say more direction, because that's, as we have seen, another particle that means also direction in the sense of to, towards, is ni. And but the difference is that this one indicates more. E is more the direction, and ni more the destination. Let's see. Yeah, not that word, not that one. Yeah, no. Let's keep it at that. Unfortunately for he, because pronounced e in this case as the particle, because we can see other words for now. But I've seen another word instead for be, kabe. Never mind the other pronunciation. Yeah, well, here's our word for he. Another pronunciation of this word, or I should say this kanji is heki, but yeah, when you use it alone more often than not is usually kabe, unaccented kabe, low high again, while this one is accented high low. We can see quite well the rule which I always mention. Kabe means wall, partition, barrier, obstacle, and so on. The fundamental meaning is wall. Kabe. Let's see if we can find a word with pe. Nope. Well, we can see this one, so we can then move on to ho. This is a children's language word. We then see the actual word used by adults. Hoppe. Cheek. Again in children language. Accented on the first. Hoppe. Let's see the word for cheek. Yeah, I've written that way, but more often than not, this is the first one is the most common one, but you might find also the second one. Ho. Again, high-low. Ho. In this case, it's an exception the second O is written with O instead of U. But yeah, that's because it's actually derived from Ho. The second one also was Ho. Then it started getting pronounced as O. And so, yes, that's why we have the most common form nowadays as Ho, written Ho and O in hiragana. Ho or Ho. More often Ho, as I said, cheek of the face. Okay. We can see this word for bo. Never mind the kanji and the first word for this kanji, which is the more common one. Usually the word we are interested in is written usually in kana. Hobo. It's one way to say almost, roughly, approximately, about, around, almost. Hobo. There are other words with the same meaning, but we'll see them when the time comes. Let's see what word we can find for po. Not this one because of usual. Oh yes, this one can be used. Carappo. Carappo, as you can see, unaccented. And it's the word with the kanji on its own, kara, in this case accented on the last one. So again, that's why you have to, unfortunately, not always the accent is kept, compounds and so on. Kara means emptiness, being empty. And then, of course, other derived words from there. But another, the word for empty, vacant, hollow, derived from that is carappo. Both no adjective and na adjective. So you can use it's one of those words where you can use both no and na before putting it when you put it before another word to specify it. But again, we'll see these things, these aspects more in detail when the time comes. And so yeah, we have seen this hiragana. And now we can take the break again at most 5 minutes, and I'll be back. Okay. See you in 5 minutes. Oops, let's remove that. And we are back. And let's start word 7-1. We're back to the daytime. Lots of bullet bills. Okay. Oops. And also some hammer bros, which isn't nice at all. Yeah, let's... Yeah, we have to go back here. Oh wow, got hit by a hammer that I'm not sure it was supposed to hit me. Okay, let's do this. Nope. Okay, let's go back and try to see what the best course of action. Okay, okay. This is doable. Okay. Oh wow. Seeing also the screen flicker. Okay, wow. Was 7-1 and Hammer Bros that way. Not. You can see the difficulty now. Okay. Let's go back to our hiragana. So we have finished the hagyo. Quite long considering that there's also the handakuten. But luckily now we start the magyo, which just like the nagyo we've seen before, doesn't even no other row, no other column as the handakuten. That's specific to the hagyo. But this one, the magyo, just like nagyo, doesn't have even the dakuten, and that's because it's the sound m, which already is voiced, so you can't voice it more. We start with ma, similar to the right part of ho we have just seen, but there's this protruding part at the top. But as usual, we start left to right, top to bottom with the circle. Left to right, top to bottom with the circle. As we can see here, it's also easier. Usually there aren't all those serifs. Left to right, top to bottom with the circle. Okay. We can see a word, some words with ma. Let's see. Simply by searching ma, we can find ma. There's this kanji has two readings, two Japanese readings. We'll see what I mean with that when we study kanji. The first one is aida, which is the space between a gap, interval, distance, stretch, also period of time and so on. Why I'm talking about that? Because then we have ma unaccented, which also means time, pause, space, room. Aida is the more common one, but there are some cases in which we have to use ma. We'll see some of them at a later point, but That's an example of a word with ma. Then we have, for example, also this prefix. Don't mind this alternative one for now. Ma, unaccented, but of course in this case is a prefix, so it might change. As a noun, it means truth, even though there are other words more common for truth. As a prefix, it means just, right, pure, genuine, true. Some example that we see here. For example, maue, right above, just above, directly overhead, because ma combined with ue, which is up above. Another example is we can see this one because of a later hiragana, but notice that in this case we had a small tsu because the following consonants gets doubled. It can happen with this suffix, with this prefix. Yeah, instead of this word, an example of that is with the color aka, akai, as we have seen before, red. Combined with ma, it becomes makka, makka. The a falls, and then we have this doubling of the following ka, makka, which means bright red, deep red, and other extended meanings. One last word, which I wanted to show. Mama, with this accent, because there's also an alternative reading, but usually it's mama. Low, high, with the accent on the last one, last syllable. Mama means as it is, remaining a state, keeping the same, leaving, and so on. For example, if I wanted to say as in the way it is now, I could say, let's see if it finds it. Yes, of course. As is, as things are like this way, kono mama, by adding kono, this. This as in close to the speaker. Okay. With that, we can go back to Super Mario Bros. World 7-2. We're going underground, maybe underwater. Yep. Lots of bloopers, I see. Not surprising since we are quite far into the games. Oops. They're definitely the most difficult underwater enemy because Chips definitely aren't on their own. Let's try, okay. Be quick enough to avoid everything. Yeah, this one isn't good. This isn't good because we have to... Oh, okay, we have entered the pipe. Okay. Quite short, but intense. Oops. All those bloopers. And okay. Let's see now. Mi. Again, since there's the vowel is I, the consonant is palatalized, but in this case, simply it stays m with this palatalization change, but it stays m, mi, as shown is IPA with the small y. Yeah, in this case, we start from the top as usual, left to right, down slanted, the circle, the curve, maybe would be better to say, and we stop here. And then this slanted stroke, top to bottom, left to right, slanted, the curve, and top to bottom. As you can see also here with the arrows. And yes, then the second stroke. Mi. Let's see some words. We have again the kanji we have seen before. But in this case, there are other readings which we won't consider for now. In this case, what interests us is mi, unaccented, fruit, nut, or seed. Usually more fruit, nut, although there are also other words for fruit, as in generic fruits. In this case, it's more like the fruit / nut of a tree. And so, yeah, as we can see from the compound word, that's more you could find kinomi, also konomi, but usually kinomi, accented on the first one. Literally, the fruit / nut of a tree. Reminder that no is the possessive particle, and so fruit of a tree. Let's see also another word. Mimi. Oh, sorry. Let's see before that. Let's go back to mi. There are other words, but what interests us is mi, unaccented, one's body, one's person, oneself, one's appearance, one's place, but the fundamental meaning is one's body, because for a more generic word for body, there's a different one, which we'll see eventually. But yes, you will find as for body and also the extended meanings, also this word mi. Now we can go and see this other word. Funny enough, also a body part. Mimi, accented on the last one, mimi, which means ear, and of course then also other extended meanings, but fundamental meaning is ear. Okay. With that, oops, I didn't show it, I think. So let's go back. Let's see it again. Mi, again, as I mentioned before, pronoun, since there's an E, it's palatalized. Left to right, slanted, curved, and then top to bottom. Right, slanted, curved, and top to bottom. 2 strokes. As you can see also here with the arrows. Let's see quickly again the words. Me, this one, let's ignore the other readings for now. Me, unaccented, fruit, nut. More often than not, as seen in the compound kinomi, accented on the first one. Also konomi, but kinomi is the more common one. Fruit of a tree / nut. Literally, fruit / nut of a tree. Again, no, the possessive particle, so fruit / nut of a tree. Then let's go back to me for this word. Unaccented, me, one's body, one's person, and other extended meanings. Body in general is the fundamental meaning, although there's another word more common for body, which we'll see another time eventually. And last but not least, we see a body part, funnily enough, mimi. Accented on the last one, means ear, and of course then extended meanings based on that, but the fundamental meaning is ear. Okay, now we can actually go back to Super Mario Bros. Okay, word 7-3. The bridge is with all these chips and of course some Koopas, paratroopers, all the usual fun stuff. Oops. Pretty funny that what killed me wasn't any of the wasn't an enemy, but me jumping into the pit. Okay. Yeah, this wasn't a smart move. But, funny. Despite that, we're already done with this level. For 7-3. Even some fireworks to celebrate because of the time. Let's go back. And see mu. Left to right. Top to bottom with this circle. Then we continue. Left to right, top, and then the ear. Left to right, top to bottom the circle. Left to right, up. And we end here. It's actually much easier usually because there's not that the final part of the second stroke is actually a separated comma on top. So left to right, down, top to bottom with the circle, left to right and go up. But then we end with a third stroke that is a comma. Mu, yeah, there's this word, also prefix. Mu means nothing, not, nil, zero. And as a prefix, it means unknown in the sense of missing something, because there's also another negative prefix, which we'll see now. We could have seen it before, but forgot. The good thing is that by seeing it now, we can compare the two. This one, who, also unknown, but this is a more generic negation. Isn't that way. The other one, usually bu, mu, is means the absence of something. For example, let's see a couple. For example, fusoku. Soku, in this case, never mind that it's also the same kanji used for the word for foot / leg. Not dealing with that now, but it's pronounced ashi, with the low high accented on the last. But the same one can be used also with other readings, but also this Chinese one, soku, don't mind this one, can mean sufficient. And so by adding fu, we have fusoku, insufficiency, deficiency. And it's also an adjective, so we can see fusoku na, and then a noun to say that noun is insufficient. Okay. Let's see if we can find some other words with mu. Not these ones. Yeah, this one, for example. No, don't mind the colloquial meaning. Musuko, unaccented. And the meaning usually is son. Musuko. Musuko. Okay, you can stop here with and go back to Super Mario Bros. World 7-4. Our good old castle. Some platforms to fall. Yeah, again, a labyrinth, I guess. So I guess I'm failing. Okay, let's do it the smart way. All top, from the top. Okay. This isn't the right way. Let's take the middle path and continue top. Nope. Top. Bottom. And go on top. Nope. Let's try bottom. This one. Top. Top. Feel like I'm missing some combinations, but let's try to do them the right way this time. Okay. So it was bottom, middle, top. This one feels also like a maze. Or not, nope. Luckily it was only the first one. And we immediately avoid Bowser and so on. Fantastic. Beautiful. Okay, let's stop here. Let's save. And yes, we are saving because after this we won't continue, as it would be the start of World 8, the last word of the game. And we'll keep it for next time also, because we'll see more hiragana for each level compared to usual. So it's better to take it slowly, also because it's more difficult. Okay, let's go back to hiragana and C2, since we finished the word, starting with me. Yes, you might have noticed, and also is referenced here. Let's see. Okay, it's working seemingly. So yes, as I was saying, as you might have noticed, it's similar. It's almost identical to nu, except for the circle at the bottom. So be careful. Me. We start here, top to bottom slanted, then top to bottom slanted the curve, and we stop here. Top to bottom slanted the curve, we stop here, as shown also here. Bottom, top to bottom again with the curve. And last but not least, we have mo. Mo, which despite what you might think in this case, we start from the top, showing it so that you can already see it. We start from the top instead of the horizontal ones, top with the curve, left to right, left to right. Here it's even united by this the stroke, but as we have seen here, usually that isn't the case. Top to bottom, left to right, left to right. The second and third stroke are separated, luckily. It's much easier that way. Okay. Let's see some words. Okay, everything is going well. Me. Accented. I. Also eyeball, but usually it's more generic. It's the word for eye more generic. And also, of course, extended meanings like eyesight, sight, vision. We have seen with Mimi. But yes, the fundamental meaning is I, me. But also we have, for example, me, also accented, which means sprout, shoot, bud. Then other words, but we won't see those for now. Then we have mo. First and foremost, as a particle, which means to, also in addition as well. Let's ignore the usage in negative sentences, as that's more complex. The basic usage is as to. If we add it after a noun, we get also that noun. For example, taking inspiration by the example here, we can see, for example, by combining it with inu, as a reminder, that's the word for dog, and with the adjective, na-adjective, ski. You might have already heard it, as it's quite a famous Japanese word, which means, which is used when you like something. In this case, for example, we could say, I like dogs too. I like also dogs. Inu mo ski. Again, since the u is between two unvoiced consonants, you barely hear it, or not hear it at all. Ski. Inu mo ski. It's an adjective, but so if we wanted to say that is something that is liked, we would say skina. For example, a dog which is liked, skina inu. Or more often than not, you might hear it, the person you like. So with the word, we can see it now, thanks to the hiragana we've studied today. Hito, never mind the other reading. Hito, unaccented, person, as in generic, a person. Human beings, mankind, of course, other extended meanings, but this is the most common, the most basic word for person. Skina hito, the person you like. The person you like with you, not explicit. Skina hito wa, the person, as for the person I like, most likely, or somebody else likes, it's not explicited, and then the name of the person. So yes, wanted to, let's see also the word for cat, neko. So we can have the sentence, I like both dogs and cats. Inu mo neko mo ski desu. Or ski da, if we, the first polite, the second plain speech, but we'll see those in detail when the time comes. And so, yeah, with mo, it's an inclusive particle. And so, in this case, both dogs and cats. As in, included dogs, included cats, I like them. Okay. And with that, I'd say we can stop here, since we have seen we have finished the word. We have seen all the magyo, all the mak column. And so, yeah, sorry for the technical difficulties at the start, but luckily we should have managed to fix them in time, and then I did the first part again, so at least the VOD should be fine. And so, yes, this time we've seen, we have studied the hagyo and magyo, ha hi hu he ho, babi bube bo, papi pupe po, and so we have seen also the handaku ten, and then the magyo mami mume mo. Okay, and with that, we are done for tonight. Next time we'll continue and finish both Super Mario Bros. And hiragana. Depending on the remaining time, we might start katakana, and as an anticipation, we'll study katakana by while playing Super Mario Bros. 2, as in the original Japanese Super Mario Bros. 2, and so the known as the Lost Levels. Yeah, there I will definitely use rewind, because otherwise we're definitely not getting to the end, and there will be many restarts considering its difficulty. But again, I think it will be useful as because we can keep a rhythm similar to the one we have seen we kept for hiragana while playing Super Mario Bros. Okay, with that anticipation of next time and the next series on this channel, see you next time.